Hey guys, welcome to the Big Talk with Austin. Thank you for Bryce for joining me for this episode, and I am back, officially back doing the Big Talk with Austin. If you guys don't know what this is, it's basically a podcast. I have this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so it's like basically a news weekly update type of stuff, and so and I have like new guests every week, so it's like it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to make this work, and that's kind of why I haven't been doing it for a while. I kind of want to take a break from it, but I am back. I don't know how much longer I can do this, but I'm going to try to make this weekly. I'm going to try to stay on it, and I'll be doing more exclusive episodes on Spotify and like Apple Podcasts. So if you don't really want to look at my face, you can just listen to my voice. I don't know if you hate both. I don't know what you're doing here, but so yeah, you can go do that, and that's where the exclusive episodes would go. So you guys can go down there. I have an exclusive episode coming out Thursday at 9 a.m. So be ready for that. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me for this episode. Thank you for Bryce for being a part of this. So let's just get right into the episode. So Spider-Man No Way Home continues at the box office. Like it's Spider-Man is like the number one movie of last year of 2021. That's incredible with COVID and all that. I mean, like, because it raised about $600 million. That's at least in North America. Worldwide, it's like I think $1 billion around there, $1 billion, which is awesome. Yeah, $1 billion and 37. Don't know how to say that. But so. Which is insane because it brings it into like the top 12 of box office, like for the box office. Like I feel like at some point it's just going to be like Marvel for like the box office, like like the top 20s. It pisses me off that Avatar is still number one. Like they released Avatar again to just put it number one. It's like,
no
one cares about Avatar. Why?
No.
Like, which is one of, I guess, is another topic we can bring up later on, is like Avatar 2. But it's just okay, whatever. But I'm glad that Spider-Man No Way Home is doing well. I had a great time with it. I saw with friends. One of them didn't like it. He never really liked Tom Holland, so it's like, all right, whatever.
But everyone has their own opinion about. I mean, they shouldn't basically base the entire movie off of one actor.
That's like that's my motto. It's like I don't hate the movie for its actor, like because like some people hate a movie because of the actor's personality, like what they did in the past. It's like you shouldn't really give a movie an F because a movie can be really great but have an actor that's a complete asshole. And so which is a topic that with one of the actors that I'll allow once, that we'll talk about later on, because but speaking of Spider-Man No Way Home also has Zendaya, which does she even have a last name, or is it just Zendaya? Is her name just Zendaya?
She does have a last name, but that's just what she goes by.
Okay.
I forgot her last name, but it was in an interview with it was in an interview with her, Tom Holland, and Jacob Batalon. Like right after No Way Home, the release. She what do you call it? She gave out her said her last name.
Okay, well,
but that was the only time that I heard it.
Yeah, I mean, like I think she's a very private person as well.
She is,
so it makes sense. But so she's very known of being like, putting ideas on set and like, changing certain parts of the story. And so and there's a topic here that she wanted a different ending to Spider-Man No Way Home. So we're not going to go really into spoilers about Spider-Man No Way Home, but the way that the movie ends is that she wanted a little bit more happy type of ending to it. And so it's like, I really like the ending because this sets up Spider-Man to because people like, oh, I'm sick of Iron Boy, of him getting help and all of that. It's like,
Yep.
first of all, he's not really getting help from anyone. They just have
Mhm.
MCU characters there, and they're like
Yeah.
sort of guiding him. It's like, oh, I'm sick of Iron Boy. Like, why can't he make his own suit? He literally uses his own suit throughout the third act in
He does.
Homecoming. But it's just a better, but it's just better off to have someone make his own suit. Um,
Well, it's like in Far From Home, like
I,
when he
I
was going up against Mysterio, he
mhm.
made his own suit.
Yeah, and
So I'm like, you can't really say Iron Boy when he made his
I
own
think it's because
suit.
it's Tony Stark
Yeah.
tech, but it's like they're just picking excuses at this point. I didn't really like Far From Home that much. I think it's my least favorite in the
Yeah.
trilogy. Um, but so
I
Zendaya,
think they were trying to do too much with Far From Home.
yeah, I think it's like, oh, the man was Mysterio twist is like he's
Yeah.
not actually Mysterio, even though they're technically
Hmm.
portraying him as Mysterio. Um,
Yep.
but anyway, Zendaya wanted a different ending. There's actually a couple quotes here from her that she wanted to be she like because throughout the movie she says there's going to be a lot of kids upset, little kids going to be upset and all. It's like, eh. And she's like, it's good that it's entertaining, but she wanted that a little bit more out of
Yeah.
it. I cried throughout the whole entire movie, and the first thing I said when it finished is this was awfully sad. Now, is it really that sad of an ending? Not really, because we know that
Yeah.
she's going to get her. We know that whatever happens at the end of the movie is going to come back into play and be all fine.
Yeah.
But
Like I personally, that makes me wonder after the ending happened, and like that just makes me wonder if she was like, wait, what am I crying over?
yeah, like like they because she's still wearing the necklace at the end,
She
so
is, yeah.
it doesn't really because if she's seen that after everything that happened, she'd be like, why am I still wearing this? Like, what is this?
Yeah, she's like, wait, who got me this?
And it kind of makes Tom Holland a little creep when he knows that she's going to a college.
uh,
So, I mean, like, what? So I don't really necessarily agree with her about it being a different. She may be teaching young kids a lesson that might not be ready for. Like that's like her mindset. It's like they might not be ready for this, which is I don't think really any kid under the age of. I mean, like this is like these movies are PG-13, so these are mostly
yep,
aimed to older mid-age teenagers that should be ready for this. Whoever
yeah,
any kid that's younger than this is mostly taken with their parents or
yep,
seen with their like older siblings. So it's like they're not really aiming for those type of younger kids. They're mostly aiming for those ones that are just about to get out of high school or like in
yep,
college. So it's like I don't really necessarily agree with her. I'm actually really happy with the ending because I think it just sets up Tom Holland for a better story and something new and different because
yep,
he's because throughout the whole trilogy he's learning from his mistakes and and now he's in that place. It's like, all right, I think the best option is to go to do this because every time I got people to help, they just get to end up hurting. So I'm happy with the way that it ended. If it ended with them not going with the route they did, I feel like they would have been playing safe. And it's like, okay.
yeah.
Even the whole
I mean,
movie.
Marvel, yeah. I mean, Marvel has been known to have plot twists. It like through a lot of their movies. Like, look at Avengers. You get a
Yeah,
lot of plot twists
they're hit
there.
and misses type of plot
Yeah,
twists. But I was like so because the whole the way that she wants it to go, it would have gone against the whole entire message of the movie because
it would have.
the
Yep,
message of the movie is Peter Parker trying to live two lives.
yep,
So he would have to choose either one. And so
yep.
It's just all right, whatever. She didn't like it that much, which is all for her, I guess. She's a nice person also. Not doing really too much to complain about. Um, Next topic is that Mobius has been delayed, which is I don't know why. I tried to tried to read this and it didn't really explain why it's delayed. So it's delayed into like April 1st, which it might be an April
Yeah,
Fool's type of thing. It's in wait, it's actually delayed again. But I don't yeah, I just don't get it because they had Spider-Man No Way Home successfully. I
yep.
thought, having a back-to-back Sony movie would be the best option for them, but I guess not. Um,
I think I personally like as much as it because the trailer looks really good for Morbius. Like I like it a
it
lot.
it looks better than Venom. I'll say that.
It does. It looks a lot better than Venom.
Carnage really got on my nerves. Uh,
But I feel like because Morbius was supposed to be released at the end of this month, January. I
like
feel
January
like
28th.
yeah, I feel like that if because with Spider-Man being released at close to the end of December and then you release another huge Marvel movie, I feel like that most people would just be like, let's take a little bit of a break,
Mm-hmm.
just a teeny tiny bit of a break.
So
So
you
I
think
don't
it's
know if
Sony or is it like Disney? Like, hey, maybe we should push this back because, well,
it
even though it's Sony's own like movie, because
yeah,
I don't. Maybe Kevin Feige has some involvement with it, but
maybe
I highly doubt it. But
it,
it's I
it,
don't know. I guess
it
we are kind of a little getting sick of tired of Marvel movies because they did that.
yeah.
They did it a couple back ways ago with Shang-Chi and Internals where they spread those out farther apart. So
Eternals was definitely a letdown for me
mhm.
because the trailer it hyped it up so much, and then you see the actual movie, and you're just like,
There was supposed to be a different ending to
really?
it, but either way, because the way that movie goes is like, so wait, you killed her, but then you bring them to her even until and next they find out that she's dead, but then you help them to save the world, get to the point to save the world, but then you don't. Making it's like, why did you even take them to the first place? Why did you even tell them anything in the first place? It just,
Yeah,
but yeah, so but you were going to say something about Morbius, and I cut you off. I was on like a rant.
yeah. I just feel like that it could either be Marvel, it could be Sony, it could be Disney, it could be a number of things.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a delay in production, like something could have happened post production, and
But
they're just like, wait,
would you think they would be done by now?
I think so, but it's just like you Marvel definitely has a standard to where that they have to live up to.
They have
And
to
so
like
I
it
feel
has to
like
be
that they're
perfect. Yeah.
yeah, so I feel like that they might be trying to make it perfect right now,
Mm-hmm.
or it could just
There's a like
I don't know.
even they might be adding scenes to it because there's also rumors that they're adding more scenes to Doctor Strange. That's a,
Hmm.
that's another reason why it's delayed. With cameos that happen in Spider-Man No Way Home might happen again in that movie. So it's
Yep.
like, okay, all right. I mean, because I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, because
Yep.
DC is open for this for the next couple months. Like they have the Batman coming out. They have a couple
Yep.
games also coming out. So this is basically the beginning of this year is basically going to be all DC, and they have an opportunity to, you know, take the lead in like comic book
I mean,
lore.
they definitely with the new Birds of Prey movie, I loved it.
I liked it
I
at
mean,
first, but I
yeah,
haven't watched it in a while.
yeah, they definitely stepped up with that movie. And then of course Marvel has to just come back.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like with their return, it wasn't as good. Like with Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Well, that's more of Sony being
Yeah,
stupid. Because if I guarantee if
but
Marvel had the Venom character, they would probably make it rated R because they're making Deadpool rated R. So
yeah, But I feel like that with Spider-Man, and I think that with Morbius, that they're probably
What
gonna
do you
knock it out of the park.
what do you think? What universe that Morbius is in? Because you have Tobey Maguire's because they're just showing out like because I don't think Oscorp exists in the MCU at least yet because they don't because at
Yeah,
least in Spider-Man No Way Home it doesn't according to that movie. So
yep, yeah. I mean, Norman Osborn is in the movie, but it never mentions anything or
about
anything
like
of.
another one. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mention anything about Oscorp. So
Mhm.
I'm like, well, does is in Peter Parker or Tom Holland's generation of Spider-Man, is it there or is it not?
It's probably like a maybe a lower version of Oxcorp because well, I mean like
Probably.
there's a new building that took over, the Avengers building in New York.
Yep,
So that could be Oscorp,
it
slowly
could be.
building. Or people are thinking of the Fantastic Four. But yeah, I mean like I'm looking forward to Morbius. Jared Leto is one of those actors that you have to kind of watch out for. It's like
Oh
he
yeah,
he gets really personal on set from what happened with Suicide Squad, but I don't think anything really too bad happened on Morbius as
yeah,
far as I know. So which is probably the best thing because Morbius is a vampire and he would probably be sucking
yeah.
people's blood next is if he's getting personal. So yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to wait until April 1st. So which another thing is that people that I mean, okay, so the Boba Fett premiered last week. We got this on Wednesday, and this week we got this. I guess last week now when this is going up, we got episode 2 of the Boba Fett, and so this art. I don't know how true this article is. I saw it. I was like, you know what? I think this is something that we need to talk about. But
Yeah.
the Book of Boba Fett premiere is an absolute failure on every level. I don't think so. I've seen terrible shows, Hawkeye, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't think because Carson Moore, he's so far not really liking Boba Fett for when we're talking. He's like it's kind of slow. It's like it's like all right. I mean like but the first episode I didn't really like that much, but the second episode was really good. Like really
Yeah.
heartful storytelling and how it ended and all. Um so I feel like this article is just BS, but it's just something I wanted to talk about. And both Fett's one of my favorite characters. And so
Hmm.
the only critical thing I really have with the show is like when they do the flashbacks, they got the younger one that played the kid to play him because that takes place right after Return of the Jedi. So it would because that would make sense because he would be like around 35 then around that period, and the actor that played the kid in Attack of the Clones is 35 right now. So
Yep.
that's my only critical response from it. It's like how cool would it have been to have two actors from two different generations in the same show?
I
Just
mean,
not.
I mean that's basically like going back to Spider-Man, bringing back
Mhm.
the first two generations of Spider-Man. I mean, I would love to see them try to do that in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like it, but I don't know how much it would or how well it would play within the story,
Yeah.
if
Like
that makes sense.
what's your thoughts on the Boba Fett so far? Like, because the show, like the second episode is a good length, but Disney just has a problem with not making the shows long. Like they make them to like
They did
35 minutes to 6 episodes. I'm like, why? You don't have to
they
worry
did the
about
same
airtime.
thing. Yeah, they did the same thing with Mandalorian, and I was like,
Oh
the
yeah, the
first
second
episode of
season was
Mandalorian,
is
they did the same thing with Mandalorian, and that as soon as I saw that they were coming out with Boba Fett, I was just like, why?
I mean, like, I mean, it's cool and all, but
I mean, don't
you,
we already have something with a bounty hunter?
well, I think people are expecting the Mandalorian to be Boba Fett, and so it's like, you know what?
Yeah,
We'll make a Boba Fett show, even though they were supposed to make a Boba Fett movie.
they were supposed to make a bunch of movies. Like they were supposed to make an Obi-Wan movie, but now it's a show.
Yeah.
Well, that's also because Disney was stupid of releasing Solo and
Yeah.
messing everything up with that. There's people out there that like Solo. I don't mind Solo, but I would not like willingly watch it. And
Yeah.
so I would rather watch like I wouldn't say The Rise of Skywalker, but I would rather watch The Last Jedi over Solo because I actually
Oh, yeah.
genuinely like The Last Jedi, just except for the casino stuff. I'll skip that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so
The Last Jedi definitely, it was a good, I would say, it honestly, if they come out with another Star Wars movie, cool.
mhm. Well, I mean, they are.
I
Like, why can I don't know how to say his name, but the guy that does Thor Ragnarok, like
oh
the
yeah,
director,
yeah.
he's getting a Star Wars movie. I think Kathleen Kennedy is getting a Star Wars movie as well, like a Squadron type of. I don't know. I don't know. After
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 84, I don't know if I want her to. She apparently no, or is it Amy? I'm thinking of that was on Spider-Man. Is it Amy?
I
I don't know.
can't think of it.
I don't know. Because there's another one. I thought she was that's different actor, different person. But anyway, yeah. But with it so far, okay, this is a huge topic that's happening. I mean, like this is something that's been heating up for a while now. Is that Dwayne Johnson slams the door on returning to the Fast and the Furious franchise and calls Vin Diesel's social media ass like a I can't remember. It's like how do you say that word? Manipulation.
So he basically Vin Diesel's trying to manipulate Dwayne Johnson
Yep.
and coming back.
He's done this multiple times. He's done this multiple times before Fast 9. And so it's just awful. Terrible. I saw it. It would have been on my worst top 10 worst movies of 2021 if I reviewed it because I only did movies I reviewed. That would have been like number one because I never really liked the Fast and the Furious movies after 7, more for the reason of Paul Walker's death, but I just didn't care. I just didn't buy that, these criminals became spies in a realistic world and next they survived the landing on top of cars when we had a guy in the first movie that was, stuck to like a door and like had a gun wound.
Yep. In all honesty, after like Hobbs and Shaw wasn't bad. It was actually it was okay, but I feel like that just kind of started the decline of the Fast and Furious movies.
I think it was like 8, at least for me.
Yeah,
because because at least Hobbs and Shaw was its own thing. It's in the Fast and the Furious universe, but it's like okay, it's Hobbs and Shaw. They're they are in like the Force and all that. So at least that makes a little bit more sense than getting a guy that stole TVs and who beat a guy with a hammer for killing his dad and had his like secret brother not telling for 20 years and accidentally in the 9th movie. But so anyways, this is after this, I just like, okay, fuck you, Vin Diesel. I am done with you. I have a Funko Pop. I don't know where he is. And here it is. I hate having this thing. Because it's Vin Diesel. I used to like Vin Diesel, but now when I just look at this, it just makes me mad. And so
now I feel like that now that Dwayne Johnson's like basically like done with the Fast and Furious movies, there is no way that they are going to find someone as good as Dwayne Johnson.
I mean,
there's no way.
I mean, like Dwayne Johnson didn't really make the movies good. I mean, like he's a good actor and all, but there's more problems with the movies. Fast 5 is probably his best performance in the Fast and the Furious movies. But overall, the Fast they're just mediocre now.
The big thing is like Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson they're kind of the face of the franchise
Well, it
for
was
the most
Paul.
part.
It was Paul Walker, but
Yeah, and then
that's
after Paul Walker, it
which is
became
another
him.
thing that he uses Paul Walker's death to Dwayne Johnson in this quote is that if I can find it, but I need to find the quote, but there's a quote in here saying about the post that he uses Paul Walker's death and his kids to try to get Dwayne Johnson to come back, and which that just pisses me off that you would bring Paul Walker's death into this. It's like, what the what?
Yeah, so it
like
says
he says like he cares about Paul Walker and family all that much. If you fucking cared about Paul Walker, you would have stopped after 7 to be respectful. It's like, sorry, we had other movies plans, but after Paul Walker, this is our last one, because they ended it with where they could have just left it off like that.
So I found the quote, and it says, "I told you years ago that I was going to fulfill my promise to Paul Walker. I swore that we would reach and manifest the best fast in the final. That is 10. I say this out of love." Yeah, he said, "I say this out of love, but you must show up. Do not leave the franchise idle. You have a very important role to play. Hobbs cannot be played by no other person. I hope that you rise to the occasion and fulfill your destiny."
There's so many better ways to do this. There's like, you could have easily just called Dwayne Johnson up, just like, hey man, like the last movie's around the corner. You don't mind just coming and working, or put our ego aside, because that's like the main issue that Dwayne Johnson also has an ego. I don't know how big of an ego he has, but these two big egos clashing is what caused problems on set, to the point where they couldn't even film scenes together, like scenes that you would see, like that it's like Fast and the Furious 8. There's scenes where they're talking to each other, but those are completely different time period, like times that those were recorded in different rooms. And so it's like I don't know, Vin Diesel's he's always been an asshole. Like I think it was like 2020, like he closed off like roads in his neighborhood to just do a morning run. I'm like, why? Like, you're not, first of all, you're not a great actor. You gotta say that. You are not a great actor. You only have 2 great performances. That's the first Fast and the Furious and Triple X. Those are the only 2 great movies that you have. Everything else is awful. And he acts like he's the king of the world, and like in the way that he's also very awkward. Like he hits on women like in interviews. It's very weird. I don't, whatever. Like if you hate Fast and Furious because of an actor, and it's Vin Diesel, I'll let that slide, because people make complaints about like Robert Downey Jr. and his drug past. It's like, that's something a little bit different to just being a complete asshole. And so and like Vin Diesel can change his attitude like that with no problem. Drug addiction is just something that happens. And it's just like, okay. I mean, like, yeah, that's a problem, and you need to deal with it, but it's not like it's not on the same level as being a dick. And treating, I don't know how well he treats the cast members. They haven't really complained about him, I don't think, but I guess they complain about Dwayne Johnson or something like that. I don't know. It's the Fast and the Furious is all mumbo jumbo at this point, and trying to find. Yeah, Vin Diesel could have just done this a better way. I don't know. Okay. What's our next? I'm trying to think of our next topic. I'm looking through like the
Matrix.
Oh, this is a doozy one. Oh, great. Okay. Where's I have like the web pages pulled up. Why can't I not find it? Okay, here it is. All right. So after the failure of Matrix Resurrection, terrible, terrible, awful
Yep.
movie. I had the opportunity to see this in theaters.
And so did I.
When I could have just really got HBO Max in. But so yeah, my audience really liked this movie. At least my audience. There was people laughing all over the place, people clapping. I'm like, I get you haven't
What
been
are you
out.
clapping about?
I get you haven't been out for 2 years, but what movies did you watch over those time periods?
Yeah.
Because this was awful. This was awful, and this article proves it even more that it was just going to be bad. So there's this. So the Matrix producer reveals that there will be no more movies. It's just like at least Matrix movies. I mean, like, I don't want to see anymore because of after this mess, but in this article they say that there was no plan for a sequel after this. Like, literally before they made this one, there was no plan. So you're telling me, and even the like director, Lena Wazowski, that's how you say her name. She didn't want to do this in the first place. Like, because they only can get one. No one wanted to work on this movie. Keanu Reeves even said something about like where he didn't really want to be working on this movie either, but they were probably going to do it without them because there was a line, because they make Warner Bros the villain in this movie. Basically, it's like, we're going to make fourth Matrix without you either way, so you can come back, do it yourself, or we'll get new people. And so I guess Lena got in her mind, her ego got in the way. It's like, I can't let anyone else make a Matrix movie but me, so I'm going to come in here and just basically make a big middle finger to Warner Bros, because that's what this movie feels like. It feels like a big middle finger to Warner Bros. It's like, you know what? You want a Matrix movie? Here's a Matrix movie. Yeah, have fun. It's like, first of all, if you have nothing else to tell, just let someone else make it. I mean, like, because you're not only, crapping on Warner Bros. You're crapping on the people that like the Matrix. I like the first one. I even like the second one. Third one, it's okay, but at least I can watch the trilogy with no problem. And now this one's like in the mix. I'm like, I don't even want to watch this ever again. I don't even want to own it. I would rather own the first three. Even I'll own, like, Rise of Skywalker. But at least, like, okay, I'm watching the Star Wars movies, I'll put Rise of Skywalker on just for the sake of it. But this one's like, because this movie has so many problems just by itself, but it just blows me away that I don't know. I what's your thoughts? I can't, my brain.
It definitely was a disappointment. After the credits were rolling, I sat back in my seat and I was like,
I immediately got up and left.
I always take a minute to think about what I just saw, like, to kind of process it. And this one, I was like, did I really just waste however many dollars I just spent for this movie?
Well, I usually use A-list because but if you don't know, it's AMC's like deals. But it's so I went to see this with a friend, so I personally gave money to them. So that makes me even more pissed. So it's like, all right, cool. I not only waste gas, I actually waste about $20 onto this movie. That's lovely. Enjoy it. I mean, like, hey, you could have just not, whatever. Like, there's a quote, like, I found a quote in here that we got no plans for prequels in mind. We got, how are you going to do a prequel for The Matrix? Whatever. I don't know. We got no sequels in mind. You I don't know how that even would work, but I really just want to crap on this movie, but we're not talking about the movie directly. But there's another quote, but I think the film also works where it really opens to audience and no, it doesn't. No, it fucking doesn't. Not in one fucking way. Because the way that this movie tries to, because this movie is nothing but, member berries. Like they literally put scenes from the original, or like, the original trilogy, and put them in this movie. Like literally just clips that you can find on YouTube, and they just like place them. Don't fucking say that, oh, it's open to audience interpretation. It's like no one's gonna care except for ones that haven't seen a movie in 2 years apparently. And I just don't, because there's even someone out there I watched on YouTube. It's like I didn't like the film, but I'm glad that they rolled the dice. You mean the roll the dice on not trying? Like,
Yeah.
because this article says that no one tried at all. Even I don't even think Keanu Reeves, because might be Keanu Reeves' like worst performance ever. He was like,
oh, it for sure was.
He's like very dull. Like it, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. It's just like, okay, so it says that like what happened 60 years before the fish Neo out again. Thomas Anderson to Neo. When Neo and Trinity are there at the end, they're talking with the analysts. What do they actually mean they're going to change? So I think that is out there, but it's not out. But it's not our wheelhouse at the moment. Then brings the question of what was the point? It brings it's like, what was the point of this movie then? To make money, to literally make money, and they did. They made about 12 million opening weekend. That's not great because I don't know this budget, but it's probably way bigger than $12 million, and it's not going to probably break even because, especially with it being on HBO Max, with how much negative it's getting, people are probably just going to watch on HBO Max. And the
funny thing is, Spider-Man No Way Home made that much in an hour.
Yeah.
On opening night. In an hour. It made 12 million in just under an hour, actually. Now look at how much it's made. $600 million.
Yeah, and just in the US. And that's not even counting
in the US alone.
Yeah, it's not even counting like Ireland and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it just blows my mind. That's like, this is the mindset of studios. It's like, we don't have a mind, which is, I guess, I don't mind the mindset of like setting up a universe. I don't mind that mindset, which is fine because we don't hardly get movies that just can sit on its own. But when you're going to bring back a franchise that people love, because there's people out there that just love The Matrix 1 and 2 and 3. I don't like the religious stuff that much about it. It gets really messy. It doesn't really go into depth. But The Matrix changed the cinematic universe for movies.
Yep.
And this one can't even do that. I know it's not going to change technology-wise, because, I mean, like, I think we're getting to that point where hardly technology can do anything. But what about story-wise? And, like, telling us, like, this was just the most boring-ass story that I've seen in a while. Like, They make Neo and Trinity the battery of the Matrix. How fucking stupid is that? As soon as those two get unplugged, the Matrix falls. The Matrix is done. Whatever. Sure. Fine. Way to go, Warner Bros. What was it? Yeah, Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Did this. Yeah. It makes sense why it's on HBO Max. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking like any other studio deal. I can't take the stupidity of some things because like, I don't know. Yeah, that's basically it from that. I was gonna go on a rant on the movie, but I don't want to waste my time on that. So, what is playing right now? Stop it. That's Matrix trailers. No, I don't want to watch you. Okay. This is actually kind of interesting. I never really played the games. I played a little bit of the second one, but Henry Cavill would like to do a Red Dead Redemption adaptation. So we're starting to get a lot of game
Oh,
adaptations. We're getting Uncharted next month, which is I'm really excited about. People are not like, oh, Tom Holland,
bro.
really? I mean, like I can't really see Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, but I
Well,
will.
here's the funny thing. I don't care that it's Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I want them to do a good performance. That's the only thing I care about.
I'm just so excited to finally see that title again.
This movie has been in the works for years.
I'm
Nathan,
so excited.
Like Nathan now, is it Nathan?
Nathan Drake.
No. There's I'm trying to think of the actor that looks like Nathan Drake. Oh, I forget his name. It's like Nathan North. Nathan North? No.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it Nathan North?
Yeah.
So I think he was originally part of the project at some point. But it was Tom Holland that and Mark Wahlberg that got the role. They did because people complain about Mark Wahlberg not having a mustache. I'm like, is that really your biggest complaint? I'm not going to see this movie because he doesn't have a mustache. I'm going to give this movie an F because Mark Wahlberg doesn't have a mustache. It's like, first of all, if they might have tried the mustache, there's a scene in the new trailer that him wearing the mustache doesn't look that great. Honestly, it looks really there's a photo of him I think last year that he posted a video with it's like more bushy, but the one in the trailer just looks like a little fuzz though.
Yeah.
So
I will say this:
if it doesn't look good, don't bother. That's my.
It confuses me why. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Mark Wahlberg. Mm-hmm. He's a good actor. Tom Holland, cool.
He's proven himself in a lot of movies. The Netflix movie that came, was it last year, like The Devil, I forget the full name, it's a long title.
He did one on Apple TV called Cherry.
I don't know if I heard if that was good though.
It was actually pretty good. It was with Sierra Bravo. She was a big actor or big kid actress from the hit TV show Big Time Rush. She played Katie Knight and she was the little sister. But I feel like that Tom Holland actually kind of fits the role because
as a younger Drake, I will say yes. But
and so
not to the game's perspective.
No, I seriously feel like that if they brought Nathan North back and oh man, who is Victor Sullivan?
There was a short film that came out on YouTube with I think it was Nathan North. I don't know if I'm getting them mixed up because even the voice actor is called Nathan, but I don't know his last name. I am terrible with last names. I don't remember them. I only remember people's first names. But there was an actor, but I like the actor in the short film and even the guy that played Silly in that short skit on YouTube. So, and I think people wanted that. I think people wanted an older Nathan Drake and all of that and try to be true to the games. I'm a big fan of the games. I play my first console was a PS3. So my first game I ever played was Uncharted 3 because it came with the console.
Same.
Not the greatest game. I never finished it at first because I was having difficulty at a certain point, but I was interested in the universe so much I went back and played the first one. So I played the first one, the second one, then next I finally finished the third one. So I'm not going to say I was basically there from the beginning, but I basically was there from the beginning. So Uncharted.
Well, see, the crazy thing is I mean, playing it on the PS5, dude, is
the
awesome.
What's it called? Like the
collection.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I went, I was just bored one day. I was like, okay, there are no really new games out right now. And so I was like, why don't I go back and play some games? And so I was like, oh, wait, I can go back and replay 1, 2, 3, and 4 and Lost Legacy.
Yeah, I never played the Lost Legacy one. That's the only one I haven't gotten around to play.
It's definitely
not as good.
It's short. It is very short. So
Like,
you know how in the game how they had the chapters.
Like there was like about 24 chapters.
So Lost Legacy only had 8.
That is really short.
But
wasn't that supposed to be like a DLC at one point? I think for 4.
Kind of.
I figured. I don't know. I mean, like, because, well, that I don't know if that makes Miles Morales feel even more special. Is it? I think it might be shorter than Miles Morales then, because Miles Morales is like 8 hours, I think. But yeah, Lost Legacy is the only one I haven't played. Which they are doing a remastered of 4 and Lost Legacy for the PS5, and for that, which I don't know why they wouldn't just do all of them. Like, because I thought they were going to be all of them, but no, it's only Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy.
Which I don't see why, because you look at, like, I literally played through the PS4 version of Uncharted 4 on the PS5, and I was like, dude, this looks so good already.
I haven't got the chance to play on the PS5, but
it looks so good.
If they can make it look better, I guess that would be cool. But why not just do all the games? Because they're selling it for like about $60 to $70. But there are two. But I mean, like, there are only two remastered games that people probably already, people already own. And can you even really remaster Uncharted, which is like a remake that we're going to be talking about later on, probably the last topic that we'll be talking about. But like, you don't really, because Uncharted 4 is not even that old. It's like,
no, it's like, it was released in 2016.
Okay, like, so
it's almost 6 years old now.
6 years. So it's not even that old, and it looked great on the PS4. It looked really good. Did. So I don't know how you're going to really remaster that one. But if you go back and remaster or even remake the original 3, those would be damn good. Those would look really good for on next gen. And I feel like they just didn't decide to do that because easier to remaster a 6-year-old game than go back.
I feel like they would have to revamp it so much that they would just be like, we'd be saving a lot more money.
Didn't they have to change the controls for when they were doing the collection on the old games?
They did. Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
It's because on the PS3 you had the select button, which opens up your journal. And then on the PS4, you had the touchpad that opened up the journal.
I was thinking more of like when the controls inverted for those old games as well.
Yes, because you had to aim with
I don't remember. It's
L1 you had to aim with L1, shoot with R1, and then throw the. I'm getting that backwards.
I don't know.
It was on the PS3. You had to do that. Yeah.
Okay. It's been a while since I played the actual original ones, so I don't even own them because I'm a big collector now. I wasn't really back then. I mostly just went to GameStop and gave them away. Probably the biggest mistake ever. But because then GameStop really doesn't even give you anything. They give you like about 5 cents, even for a really good game. It's like, all right, $5, but it's really good and good quality. It should be more than that. But anyway, we kind of got off topic there. Let's talk about Red Dead before Rockstar just gets mad at us. It's like, this is supposed to be our moment. So I never really played the Red Dead games. I'm a big Western fan, but I never even finished GTA 5. It's just a really big game. Those are really big games. It takes a lot of your time to play. And so
as someone who's played through both Red Dead 1 and 2 and also the Undead Nightmare DLC for Red Dead 1, Red Dead 2 I really feel like was a good sequel. I really feel like it was, because not only did John Marston was in Red Dead 2.
Was that a prequel?
No, it was
it was a sequel prequel.
Oh yes, it was yes.
Okay.
And so Red Dead 1 actually picks up right after Red Dead 2.
Okay. All
And
right.
and so and so but Red Dead 2, it had some moments where I was just like, really? But throughout the whole game, I literally would just put down my controller and I literally would just look around the actual world. Dude, the graphics were insane.
Yeah.
And then after playing it on the PS5, I was like, wow, this game
Mhm.
is insane.
Like,
And
so
so
how would
I
you like the adaptation to be, a movie or a show? Because I don't think that, with how big the game is, like with how much story is in the game, I don't think it would be successful as a movie
and I
unless they're going to do their own thing, which I
it,
would prefer.
like Uncharted, I feel like that
They can
with
You can easily squeeze Uncharted into 2 hours though. You
you
can easily.
can but with Red Dead, I really do not think that it would go well as a movie because
Mhm.
one,
There's
it
so
is
many
so hard
characters. There's so many.
it's so hard to find the Arthur Morgan. It is so hard to find the John Marston.
Wow.
It is
Yeah.
so hard to find the Dutch. And I'm like, why not just save us all trouble? Come out with a Red Dead 3.
I mean, like, they're probably working on GTA 6 right now. People have been asking that for years because, like, when did the first Red Dead come out? Was that
uh
2013?
2011, I think, is
Okay.
when it came
And
out.
next, the second one came out, um,
2018.
so 7 years after the making.
Yeah.
GTA has been on both PS3, PS4, so it's been over a decade since it's
And now it's coming out on PS5.
Yeah, yeah, probably not a big difference. A lot of people
It's
were
not.
upset. A lot of people were upset about that. Even with the, what's it called, GTA Definitive Edition, which I almost bought the other day, but then I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? Probably not right now. It's because it was like on sale, it was like $40. It's like, okay, that's better than 60, but is it really worth $40? I don't know, maybe $20. But yeah, I was like, because I never played the original three. I haven't even played the fourth one either. I I just didn't have a console at the time,
Yeah.
and way too young to play it. But so it's like I would like to play those games, but not in the state that it is in. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think Red Dead 3 will be for a while because New Rockstar is really known for really working their studio, like their employees, hard, like
Yep.
24/7. Like, they've worked hard on Red Dead 2, and I think there
They
was like
did.
a lawsuit during that time period.
There was, and I mean, I see where the employees are coming from, but also they made a really good game. And
Yeah,
so I was like, it, I mean, I hate that it took that much time and effort to do it, but I was like, it
was
was
that is
it
that
it,
what is it, because of the
it
studio that game is good, or is it because of them making him work overtime and hard putting in more work, or is it because just the employees are really that good? Like,
I feel like that it was the studio and the employees. I don't feel like that it was because they were being overworked. I feel like that they planned it out really well. I feel like Rockstar knew exactly what they wanted in this game. And so when you know exactly what you want, you execute on that. And
mhm,
therefore, hopefully, it's a no
masterpiece.
brainer.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a no brainer that it's going to be good.
maybe they can just get a better schedule, like put,
Yeah,
have the mindset of, like, I don't like the idea of, putting so much stresses on the employees. But if that is the reason that the game is good, at least give them a big break time than if
yeah.
they're putting that much work in. Most I Hopefully most of them are still with New Rockstars. If not, then hopefully they found new jobs and
Yeah.
put good work into it, because even Naughty Dog, even Naughty Dog has the same issues with
Yep.
overworking employees, and not a lot of people like The Last of Us Part Two. I honestly really enjoy it, except for
I loved it.
except for when it comes with certain parts with Abby. I wish they swap, you know,
Yeah.
maybe do Abby's story as part two, and next, this game part three would have make it better, maybe. But
Yeah.
I couldn't really get
I,
behind of Abby's character, but everything else I liked. I didn't mind Joel dying. A lot of people really hated Joel dying. It's like
I
Joel
hated
was,
it.
I mean, like I was shocked at
I
first.
hated it.
I was shocked at first, but really, when you think about it, Joel was a terrible person. He was
He was.
awful, and so and in a zombie apocalypse, anything can happen. So it's like,
Yeah.
but I think what people couldn't get behind is like this random group of people, going through all this troubles from Seattle to wherever they were. I guess Colorado. It was Colorado, and just finding
Yeah.
Joel there. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that was oddly easy then. No troubles. But anyway, yeah, we really didn't really talk about Red Dead, did we? I think New Rockstars is like, cool. Just promote other people's games. That's fine. But yeah, I don't know. Like, who would you think? So I think Henry Cavill would probably play. What's his name? The main
Arthur.
lead, Arthur. Yeah, because he's the one that brought it up. I'm assuming that he would probably want to play Arthur. Would you think he would do a great job? Maybe.
I mean, I'm not too familiar with his work, so it's like I said earlier. It would take a while for them to find like the perfect actor to be Arthur Morgan, because Arthur has like so many of these mannerisms, and so I was like, if they made it a movie, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I feel like games do way better as shows.
They
Like,
do.
because like we're getting a Last of Us show as well on HBO Max.
Oh, thank God.
It's like
I'm so happy.
Joel is being played by it's is it Henry Prescott? No, it's not Henry. It's the guy from The Mandalorian, Pascal. I forget his first name.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I forget his first name, but it's played by him, which is, I guess, a good choice. I mean, he's popular right now, so it's like, hey, let's get him in. So because he's, hot and all that. So it's like, all right, cool. I forget who's playing Ellie. I don't know who's playing Ellie. But I'm looking forward to that show. And the one thing I do not want is it just being a retread of the first game. Like just like screen like something like The Lion King. I don't want it to be like that. Tell it from a different like perspective sort of type of deal. Have it, maybe we have the first episode be from Ellie's perspective of her meeting Joel instead of Joel meeting Ellie. Like that could be a cool dynamic. And next you would have to learn the backstory of Joel instead of learning the backstory of Ellie.
Well, so you know how in The Last of Us Part 2, how it kept flashing back to the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
What if in one of those flashbacks it was Ellie?
What do you mean?
Meeting Joel.
You mean like they're like, I don't know about that. I really don't. I think flashback. I would like the first episode to be like, the DLC of of The Last of Us, like that. Like it starts out there, and the second episode, goes into of her being bit and all that, and next finding Joel, and next we learn about Joel's past, and next we get maybe a flashback to the opening break. I think that would be a cool way to tell like the story in a different way, telling the same story but in a different way. And so and next they can do the same thing with the second game, or maybe change it up with the second game. That would probably make people happy even more. Which I like if they tell it from, if they do say this season 2 of The Last of Us, like maybe from Abby's point of view, the first couple episodes, then we meet Ellie and Joel. It's like, oh wait, I found out where Joel is. Let's go off and kill him, and it's like he dies in like whatever episodes instead of the first hour. So it's like,
yeah,
it'll be better storytelling.
I feel like The Last of Us Part Two was a very solid game.
Mhm.
It like when I was playing through it, and after I got or after I finished the game, I was drained mentally and emotionally because that game just kept playing with my emotions. And then at the end of the game, when Ellie leaves, to go after Abby, dude, I wanted to quit playing so bad.
Mhm.
I wanted to do so bad.
I
And
think
then when she came,
I think it would have been
well, and
better off if it ended with her not going after Abby, because I feel like that was a
yeah,
little tagged on just for the sake of it, but because it makes that whole her, because she doesn't kill her at all. Like it's like you do like was the whole
she
point of
couldn't
that.
do it.
I mean, like, yes, but she realized that she couldn't realize that before or in that mindset, I guess. I don't know. I think it's like a 7 out of 10 game. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty good. It's not good as the first one. Definitely has
I,
problems, but
I think it was definitely, if they ever do make a Last of Us 3, I would
they
be
will. They
very,
will. They
I
have
would
to.
be very happy with The Last of Us 2 being
Hmm.
the end. I would be fine with that because it was a good game. Like it definitely had its moments. Um, but overall, I feel like the story went okay. Aside from when we started playing as Abby, and we were all or all of us were
I
kind of
was pissed.
confused.
I was pissed when that happened. I have a
Yeah,
playlist on my gaming channel. I was like, nope. I think I paused the game and just left the room
yeah,
for like a couple minutes. I was like, no, no.
yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, why? Wait, why?
Like it's a
And then
bold move, but it's like I don't care. Like you didn't make me care to
yeah,
play her.
it
And
and
it's like
so
it's like you're playing the whole entire game over again because you have to get everything again. It's like, okay, cool, great, awesome.
but I mean, going back to Red Dead,
Yeah, we haven't talked about Reddit at all.
we'll see how it works out.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
speaking, I guess speaking of The
what
Last of Us, what are you gonna say? Sorry.
I like just we'll see how it goes, and if it goes well, it goes well. If it
Hmm.
doesn't, then I'll just be like, well, should
You
this
fucked
be
it
a
up.
sign?
Yeah.
I was
Well,
like, should this be a sign that you
maybe,
guys shouldn't take huge gaming titles and try and make them into something more?
or just not mess with movies slash shows in general.
Well, why do you think that they haven't made GTA a
Uh,
movie?
I mean, like you can put
You can't.
well, I mean, you can't, but literally any movie would be like, oh, that's a GTA movie. All right, just like there's movies out there. It's like, you know what? Come here, come here. What?
Yeah,
How much can we give you? Just put GTA on it, just the name of it, but it has nothing to do with GTA. Like there's movies out there
yeah,
like that. I think Doom was one of them with The Rock, Dwayne
yeah,
Johnson, but it has nothing. But it's nothing like the Doom, except for one segment in the movie where they're paying homage with the first person camera POV shot.
yeah.
But speaking of The Last of Us is coming to the PS5, but as a
Hmm.
remake. This pisses me off. You,
Yeah.
why would you remake the perfect game of all time? Last of Us is a flawless game. Like you cannot say anything bad about The Last of Us. Like you honestly can't. And whoever says that was like, oh, this and this, it's like you're just nitpicking at this point because
Yeah.
it has
I
great
mean,
characters. It's the length is perfect for what it is. Like there's not a slow
yeah,
moment where like I don't feel like playing this today. Like I don't feel like
yeah,
playing like there's a lot of games where I just like I don't really feel like playing it, but The Last of Us like, yes, let's play.
yeah.
So
It definitely. I feel like that with it, they're trying. I don't know if you can remaster a game like that. Like that's
well,
trying.
you can remaster The Last
You
of Us,
can.
but you can't
You
remake it. It's a like a
yeah.
because people say, oh, remake and remaster is the same thing. No, it's not. it's not the fucking same thing, and it pisses me off that people say that. It's like, it's not the same, because a remake is where you're changing the story around to make it benefit for you for when you come back to make the sequel to it. Because I guarantee there will be a segment in this new game with Abby in the hospital. I guarantee you it.
Yeah.
To see if they can undo what they did with The Last of Us 2. So they feel like, oh, well, you guys didn't like Abby because, you didn't really get to know her character. It's like, so we'll put her in the first game at the end. No.
Well, I just thought of this. What if they put Abby in or they make it an option where you can stop Joel from doing the original ending?
There's like well, no, there's actually videos of people like, not even killing the doctor. It's like, you know what? I don't want to kill you. You're fine. Go.
But what if you do that, but it actually plays with the story? Like it changes up the story if you don't kill the doctor.
I'm making The Last of Us a choice-based game. I don't know. Maybe you can do that with the third one, but
probably
I don't know. But yeah, it's supposed to be like they're in the it says here that they're nearly finished, and it could be released this year, which is like, but you had the second one came out a year ago. This would feel like this would feel like it's like, oh, the second one didn't do well. You know what people would really do like is the first Last of Us. So let's just work on that. Because I think they were supposed to be doing an Uncharted one, but then they decided to do The Last of Us instead. I think there was an article about something about Uncharted remake or remake. Which again, another game that you can't really remake. Can you remake the first one? The first one was in that unnatural type of realm. And the villains weren't that greatest, but still a fantastic game. So whatever. And it's also, the game hasn't been out that long either. That game came out not Uncharted, but The Last of Us came out in 2013. So it's been out 9 years. 8, 9 years. So the original came out 9 years ago. That is way too soon to even do a remake. Way too soon. I think 20 years to 15 years is understandable for a remake.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of a game that got remade that was that old. But
Mafia. The Mafia definitive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The original Mafia,
which was really good from what I heard.
It was. So I replayed the first one. It looks absolutely amazing. It was super fun. You definitely can tell how much work was put into it. But at the same time, it didn't feel like I was playing a new game. It felt like that I had played this game already, because I had played the original Mafia from 2002, which was literally as old as me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like that's how you. I forget who made the Mafia. Who's the studio for that?
2K.
Was it really 2K?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, all right. At least there was no microtransactions, right? There was.
Wait, what'd you say?
Was there microtransactions? There better not be any micro. Okay, that's a good thing, because they're really known for their microtransactions. Which I didn't know that was made by 2K. I thought it was some other studio. Which I thought 2K.
It was 2K. It was 2K and someone else, but 2K mainly did all of the work.
Very interesting. Maybe they should put more work into their NBA stuff and all that. But all right. Well, speaking of games that other games, Lego Star Wars the Skywalker Saga, this game has been delayed constantly. This game was supposed to be come out like 2 years ago. So there's rumors that it will come out this year. Well, there was rumors that it was supposed to come out last year and December and all that. At this point, it has to come out like sooner or later, or no one's going to care. So,
Yeah,
but this article is that it's bigger than even than we thought. The Skywalker, I think the biggest game was The Force Awakens. First,
it was either that or it was Lego Star Wars 3. Or no, the biggest one was Complete Saga.
okay. Well, I'm thinking it's going to be an open world type of game because it wasn't
I think so.
Force Awakens an open world sort of type of game.
Force Awakens was open world, and Lego Star Wars 3 was open world because you could decide which planet you wanted to go to.
Wasn't even sort of like a choice type of basic game, like a little bit as well at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly really want this. Like I'm really because I'm curious what they're gonna do with the sequels of the game.
Yep.
They already did Force Awakens. I'm curious if they're gonna do a shorter version of that game or like the full game again. I'm pretty sure it'll be a shorter version of it.
It may even try doing like the like just movies by itself, like Rogue One. It could try and do that story.
I would like to see a Rogue One as a Lego game. I would like to see that. Not solo though.
Yeah, I was like, it could do Rogue One, Solo. It could do any game, or it could do any movie at this point.
I mean, like, I don't really expect that much out of Lego games, not at least when it comes to graphics. But like, if they can at least make it fun, and that's another thing is like they better change the old ones, and instead of it being just like a update version of it, I think I hope they do it, and that's probably the best route for them because Lego is not really known for bad marketing, really.
Mm-mm.
So I don't think they would do that and piss off consumers. So yeah, I'm really curious how they're gonna do this. They've been really working on a bunch of Lego stuff, like shows and wise. So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm interested to see like where they're gonna go.
It says here it's just like 45 levels. So that's I don't know.
So then that could be
is that even a lot? What did the Lego
it could be The Last Jedi and then The Rise of Skywalker that they're covering.
That is supposed to be bigger.
It could be. Because The Force Awakens only just covered The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious if they're going to do it like the Jurassic World game. That's what they're trying to do. Which is, I honestly like the Jurassic World game.
That's a good point.
That was also a good one. Because I think this game was supposed to do the same thing like Jurassic World did. It came out like a month after the movie did in 2015. Mm-hmm. So I thought they were probably trying to do that, but then they ran into problems, I guess. I don't know. Star Wars is in a weird state as it is anyways. Like they're going through a bunch of stuff. So yeah, it says here it's supposed to be like 45 levels, which I don't know if that's a lot. I don't compare to an old game.
It depends. I'm trying to remember how many levels previous Star. The Complete Saga had a lot. I remember that. And then Clone Wars had.
Oh, we even have pictures. Like I forgot to mention, like we even have like a picture of like the galaxy map. So that's kind of cool. Like there's like about I think 12 planets. So that's kind of cool.
That's pretty good. Let me see.
And we have like I think a picture of like a Star Destroyer as well. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, like this could be a great game if they just release it. I mean,
I feel like once they figure out what they're doing, I think is when it'll be go time.
at this point they should be done. Like they haven't said anything about why they have delayed it. Like this is like the most quiet delay ever that I've ever heard of or seen. So it's like there must be some really big issues going on. I don't know.
Yeah, for it to be delayed as long as it has been, I feel like that something within the production of the video game has
maybe someone got sued. Wrong. Maybe like there was a lawsuit and they just can't say anything about it. So it's like, well, we can't do anything. We can't release the game. So I don't know. But I feel like a lawsuit would be leaked by now if there was like a lawsuit going on. Someone would have leaked it probably by now if that was the case. And so I don't know. But this would be really good from what the details that they're saying and how big it is. And I'm curious how it will look on next gen, even though that Lego games graphics aren't mind-blowing in any way. But they kind of do change the way how games play in some form, which is what Lego's games are meant for. So all right. Do you want to talk about the Lego PS5 thing, or do you want to move on? It's like, I mean, like that's a cool thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, like,
I'm fine with anything. Like, we could talk about it if you want. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't.
I mean, like, I would talk about it, but like, we had so many issues in this. I don't know how long we've been recording for. Yeah. Like, I have no problem with this being a really long episode. I have no problem with that. But at this point, I'm just like, I'm tired. But okay. Yeah. So this PS5 Lego thing is really cool. I don't know if this is a official Lego set.
Yeah.
Is it official? I don't think it says official because I don't see anything about it.
I haven't seen anything like
nothing in this article PS5. Yeah, nothing in this article says anything about it being official. But it would, I mean, it probably upset people. It's like, oh wow, I can get a Lego PS5, but not the real thing. That's interesting. And it'd be kind of cool to have it next to my PS5. Like, oh, look, I have both. Suck it. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a cool thing, I guess. What are you playing? Quit. You're going to get me, like, copyrighted for just a second of whatever that is.
Get this video demonetized.
I mean, I don't make money off these, but YouTube is, like, quick about that type of stuff. So I guess speaking of PlayStation VR 2 has been, not sort of announced, but got more information on it. And it's a rumor that it can come out this year, which I would like. I would like to have it come out. I haven't played on the original PSVR. It's something I want to get, and probably I would like to get before the new one comes out to compare the two.
I did. The only game that I played on the original PSVR was Batman VR.
Okay.
That was the only one that I played, and I loved it. It was really cool because, I mean, if you've ever done the Oculus kind of VR.
Yeah, I played on. A friend of mine has the Oculus Quest 2. That thing gives me a headache just wearing it and playing on. And we got into a big argument about which, like, it was a dumb argument, but we got into an argument about the VR headsets and, like, especially, and because I showed him, like, the details that this one is supposed, like, that they say it's going to have. Now, is it going to be to what it's fully going to be? No, it's not, because they're like the stuff that they say it is, like, 4K. Yeah, I expect the headset to have 4K. That would be pretty cool. But thing is that they say it will have is that it will have new sensor features, so that this is going to be this will be able to censor, so you don't need a camera to censor it. But they're supposed to be, like, be able to, like, like the adaptation triggers, it's supposed to have something like that with the fillings around the headset, make you more immersed. That's what he went on about. It's like, I highly doubt that would be a case. I don't think they would put this out there and lie about. It's like, oh yeah, this is supposed to have like, adaption headset feelings. Like, yeah, that would get more people.
Yeah.
With the adaption triggers and with even the controllers having the adaptive triggers, I would expect them to have some form of that. It's not going to be like, oh, I can feel a hand touching my head. No, it's not going to be like that, but it's
Yeah.
going to be more vibration. Like, oh, the game is shaking, the headset shakes. It's like,
Yep.
that would be cool. That's what I expect. And I think was like, no, no, no. Like he was thinking of probably that type of stuff. And so we're supposed to be getting like that 4K, supposed to be revolution of 2000 to 2040 per eye, and smooth frame rating of 90 slash 120 HZ. I don't know how to say the full thing about that. One of the new things is also supposed to have eye tracking. So it doesn't really go into detail of what that means. So usually in a VR game, you have to look around. So I'm thinking that it's like you look in like the corner of the screen in the VR headset, that the screen sort of like kind of moves like your what's the
Peripherals.
Quote you to like to be like that. I think that's what they mean. I don't know what they fully mean by that. But I'm really excited for this because we still haven't got any pictures of what it's supposed to look like. We got concept arts and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming it's going to be more towards like the PS5 look to it. And so there's one concept art concept picture I really liked. It was like white, and it had somewhat futuristic feeling to it. It's like the recent one. But,
insert on screen.
Yeah, insert on screen. I mean, like, I don't know really what else to say about this besides that this could change VR, because VR is still in that early state of, early console type of state as what it used to be. And this was part of the argument that like, they're all built the same. No, not necessarily. It's like saying like, oh, back in 2002, the PS1 is the same as the Xbox 3, the original Xbox. No, I think one does look better over the other, and that depends on how it works and like how it's built. Because the difference between, because he has the Quest 2 and like, the Vive is like, for PC, that one will look better than one that's just running off nothing. And it's because it will have less power and all that. And so
that makes me wonder, because like without a camera, how long do you think the battery life on the VR headset's gonna be?
It still has a wire. It's still gonna be plugged in.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to worry about charging it. And people were kind of disappointed. It's like, oh, it's like, I mean, not really that big of a deal. I wouldn't mind standing up and be able to walk around like maybe a couple of inches. So depending on how long the cord is, that would be nice if it's like a really long cord. But I didn't expect them to come out with like because the Vive is you put like cameras on your corners of your walls and it scans the whole entire room, and you'll be able to walk in that into that section of your room. I wasn't expecting that. I don't even think console would be able to handle that. Yeah, so
it wouldn't.
Or people were expecting to be able to, have it be able to scan the room like the Quest 2, but I don't really mind that much, to be honest. It really is still in that early stage, and for what they did with the first VR was really damn amazing, because people say
it was cool.
It's the most comfortable. It might not be that amazing with graphics. That's mostly the game developers and mostly people that worked on PlayStation is working with VR for the very first time.
Yeah.
So it's not going to really have that great of graphics. This time around, I expect a lot more, because more than you started. But the most thing that people said about their first headset is how comfortable it was. So
Yep.
I like I don't so I really don't know what to say that much. They're still in that early stage of not a lot of information. So
I mean that basically sums up everything with the VR, because I mean there's still so many unknowns, like how like you said, the comfortability with the original VR. It's just like, are they going to make this one lighter? Like how will it
I think
feel?
this one has more parts to it. So
Yeah,
I think
so like
because it has the
how
sensors
complex is
parts,
it
so I think it's going to be a little bit more bigger than the original.
gonna,
But
okay,
if it still has the same, but I think it's because it runs directly off the PlayStation. I think that's what the PlayStation VR does. It runs directly off the PlayStation. So it's not much
yeah,
as what's in the headset, it's what it's powered to.
yeah,
So that's why that's why I like the Vive much better. The Oculus has the Rift, and I haven't tried the Rift, so I don't know how well that is. But whenever something is powered to like the PC or your console, will definitely be much better than a wireless. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to walk around a little bit more, but you're not going to get the same thing as much.
yeah.
Once again, thank you for Bryce for joining me for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm glad to be back doing this. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys for joining me for this episode. And like always, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.